Hello everyone, Silent here. Welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Edition tutorial. In this one, I'll be showing you how to build a very nice and very reliable multi-item storage system for the Bedrock Edition of Minecraft. There are a lot of features with this multi-item storage system. I don't want to cover absolutely everything because I will be rambling for ages and ages. But kind of the main points are, it is completely automatic, of course. It is 100% silent, so you'll never hear a single noise from this system. It is also perfectly reliable, so it'll never miss a single item or lose any items back in the circuitry or anything like that. So completely perfectly timed, which is really lovely. It is also extremely dense storage as well. So as you can see, every other block, we have a column of 7 double chests each, which makes for extremely dense storage. And in between those columns, you can put whatever you want. Right now, I have some shulker boxes for demonstration. You can put like anvils or furnaces or whatever you want right here. But these shulker boxes that I have right here are not being auto-sorted. They're just kind of there for looks. You can literally put whatever you want right there. And this system is also a tileable system as well. So right now I have 5 slices. Each slice is 2 blocks wide, and you can have as many slices in this system as you want. You can have 1 slice, you can have 20 slices, but I find that 5 slices is a pretty sizable storage system and should suit you guys just fine in your worlds. One of the main benefits to having a storage system of this size is that when you're standing on this exact block right here, you can actually reach every single double chest in your entire sorting system, which I find to be a really nice and convenient perk, as I am a lazy person, so I figured that would be a nice little perk for you guys as well. Because there is an extended reach on the Bedrock Edition, you can actually reach this very top chest perfectly fine. You gotta look up a little far, but it's totally within reach. No issues there whatsoever. And again, this is a multi-item storage system, so you can store any type of item in any of these chests that you like. However you lay out your stackable items is exactly how this system will store in these chests. You don't need to do anything with the hoppers behind them. It is all reliant on how you have the items laid out in your chest here. The only kind of item that this system can't really handle is non-stackable items, which is totally normal for a sorting system. But what you can do is actually switch some of these chests off. So this one right here is a completely manual chest, but in here we also have our non-stackable items. So you can have one for like your potions, you can have one for either like armor and tools and weapons, maybe enchantment books as well. I told you I could ramble trying to explain all the features of this thing. I'm sorry, but there's a lot of features to explain. But as you can see here is all of the redstone. It's honestly nothing extremely complicated. All of this on the entire backside is just for our silent, slow, and lossless item elevators, which are absolutely mandatory for this system to be as nice and as reliable as it is. If you wanted to switch these out for bubble columns, you would have a lot of additional problems, but everything that actually does all of the multi-item sorting is these 3 blocks right here. I know, it's crazy, like you got 5 times more space taken up by the item elevator. It's really ridiculous, but it is what it is. One thing I do want to mention real quick before we hop into the tutorial is I just did a conversion tutorial for Tango version 2 multi-item sorter made for the Java edition, and it made this work perfectly on the Bedrock edition, which was a pain, but it works now. There are a few pros that the new system has over that conversion, and that is that this system is a lot denser, and of course a little bit better tiled as well. So we have 1 row of 7 double chests every other block, whereas with this system you have 1 row of 6 double chests basically every 1.5 blocks. So as you can see, it is much denser. This system overall is actually cheaper. However, it does need 1 more block on the backside. And just giving you guys all that information because I know a lot of you are going to be wondering. So there you go. There's all the information that you need. Choose which system you're going to build and build it once and be done with it, right? For those of you that are interested, there's going to be a full materials list for this build down in the description of the video, and I'm going to be doing the tutorial, of course, on the 5-column section or the 5-column sorter. That way you guys know everything that you need to know about how to build this. So for building that, you're going to need a 14 long area by 11 blocks wide, and you're going to need 4 blocks of air off of the ground. This is going to be your bottommost floor, and this is like your secondary floor where all of your chests are at. So your chests are going to start 1 block in from the very edge, and then you're just going to have your columns be spaced out by 1 block, of course. And these columns are, of course, 7 blocks tall, nothing too special there. So hopefully you guys can all figure that out in your world, and with all that stuff out of the way, let's hop into it. So the first thing you should do is go behind all of your columns of chests and just put in all of the hoppers going into all of the backs of your chests. And then you want to go one block beneath your chest as well with one additional hopper, and just point that into a solid block or an air gap or something. Doesn't really matter. On top of your pillars of hoppers, you also want a dropper at the very top. And this is actually as tall as your build is going to go. It's not going to go any further above that. And we're going to start at the front left side with our input chest. So this is just going to start off right here. And this is just where you're going to dump all of the items into your system to then be sorted. So we need a little bit of a block just kind of over here. And we're just going to run 4 hoppers along into that. These 3 are all going towards the back of the farm. And then this one is pointing to the right. And this is actually where we're going to have our first item elevator right there. And now is a pretty good time to go ahead and mark out where the rest of your item elevators are going to be going as well. So you're basically just going to have 5 of these things, and they're all going to be directly behind all of your columns of chests, just like so. Go ahead and remove these filler blocks. And now what you want to do is you want to bring up this pillar of droppers all the way to the top of your build. And you want to end off with a dropper facing towards the front, and basically just run a hopper line from that into this dropper right here. So now what you want to do is you want to grab the output from this column and run that into your next item elevator. So we're going to do a little bit of a zigzag of hoppers, kind of just like so, and basically bring these right underneath of this bottom hopper. Again, for these very bottom hoppers right here, you want to make sure that all of these are pointing to the sides, just into some sort of solid block, and they'll be perfectly fine. And now you basically just want to do that little zigzag process for all of your outputs and for all of your item elevators. And for your final column, basically just run this bottom hopper into your output chest, and that's more or less all there really is to it. Future Silent here with a mild derp, you basically want to bring all of these dropper elevators forward by 1 block. And of course, you also need to reroute all of these hoppers to still face into the sides of these droppers. We're going to go ahead and hold off on building the rest of the item elevators because building those up actually makes it very hard to move around and makes it very claustrophobic in here. So we'll get back to these item elevators in a couple minutes. And now we want to start with the circuitry for powering the entire wall of hoppers. I'm going to do a little section of this with you first because it's basically the same thing over and over and over again for each one of your columns. But we're going to start off with a side repeater right here going into this very bottom hopper. And then we're basically going to fill up this entire wall with blocks. You'll see why in just a second, but fill this up all the way to the top right here with blocks, and then replace every other block in a zigzag with a repeater, just like so. So these side repeaters right here that are right behind your chest need to be on 2 ticks each, and then these center repeaters right here that are right in between your gaps need to be on 3 ticks each. Now double, triple, quadruple, quintuple check all of your repeater timings, because if a single one of these are off, you're going to have some issues with your chest right here. So your torch tower is about as simple as it sounds. We're going to go off of the back side of this repeater and go all the way down to the bottom and just place down a block with a torch on top of it, another block, another torch right there, and then we want solid blocks behind each of these blocks that the repeaters are on. And basically we're just going to zigzag redstone torches up. So these ones on the right that are right behind your column of chests should all be on, and these ones in the center should all be off. So basically just place all of those in place just like so. Again, a basic torch tower to power all of these. And then once we get to the top here, you do want a block on top of that that is going to power that hopper, which is a good thing. That helps with the reliability of the circuit. And then we also want another torch right there. So pretty simple to see. And you can see that these item elevators are really in the way for showing what's happening. But that is basically all that there is. I now need to repair this item elevator. Now, one more thing that you want to do for this is actually swing around to the front side, down the center, and basically place a solid block in front of each one of your center repeaters right here. And honestly, you could go ahead and just fill in all the blocks in this wall. That's probably what you'll want to end up doing, but that doesn't really matter. So now it's just the process of going through and doing the same repeater and torch tower circuit for each and every single one of your columns. Now, this is a pretty simple process, and it probably doesn't really need a block by block. However, I'm still going to show you guys exactly how to lay it out. So that is our entire wall of repeaters in place. Again, all of these are on the correct timings. You really want to make sure that they're all on the correct timings. But now we're going to go down below and we're going to have 4 torch towers. Each one of these is going to be spaced out by 1 block. And the 3 on the right side are going to be exactly the same as one another. So let's speed up this build process a little bit. And the one on the far left is going to be more or less the same, but with some additional torches just to get this extra side right here. So just build it up as normal. Torches on the insides of all these blocks, and the side ones should be powered, of course. And then what we're going to do is we're going to run additional torches on the side of this tower just to power these last 4 repeaters right here. And that is actually all there is to this entire wall of torches. Hopefully you guys can make sense of this. It's kind of complicated looking, but I swear it's actually very, very simple. So now we want to work on our item elevators. And again, you want to make sure that there's only a 1 block gap in between these item elevators and these blocks right here with your torch towers on them. Mild derp on my part. But basically, to build these up, you basically just want to have a little bit of a circuit like this. A comparator reading from that dropper right there, going into a block with a redstone torch right there. You want another comparator right there facing into this block, redstone torch right there. And then you want to have yourself a hopper facing this way into a chest beneath that, a hopper beneath that facing back towards the front of the build, and then a dropper facing upwards right there. Just a nice and compact way to slow down this item elevator. You also then want to go ahead and get a comparator reading from that chest, going up into a block with a small torch tower on top of this now, and it's just like so. Get a solid block on top of that chest right there with a activator rail, a observer facing that activator rail, redstone torch behind that, and then basically get yourself a tower of observers all facing towards the back of the farm, just like so. You want solid blocks behind all of those, and then basically just get yourself a torch and observer tower going up, with every other block being a redstone torch, and you should end with a redstone torch at the top. And that is all that you need to see of that right there. So now we need to head down to the bottom and place in a redstone dust right here. You want a repeater on 4 ticks, just like so, another repeater on 2 ticks, and then a solid block right underneath that dropper. And go ahead and place any old stackable item into that hopper right there. And that is your entire item elevator completely done. We can then go ahead and test this thing real quick, throw an item in there. All of that should activate, be completely silent, and we should see that item in this hopper right here. And good news, everyone, you now need to build that 4 more times, and basically all of these locations exactly the same, no changes whatsoever, just 4 more times. And there we go, all of our item elevators are now in place. They're all exactly the same, and that is a fair few observers, but trust me, it is well worth it. One-time investment, and you got yourself an awesome sorting system. Make sure to remember to put an item in each one of these hoppers as well, otherwise nothing is at all going to work. But now we need to work on the brains of the system, and that is all of the circuitry down here at the bottom. And this is all pretty simple. You basically want to make sure that you have a line of redstone dust going along this edge right here, with a block up right here that just saves you a piece of redstone dust. And at the end of this line, we're basically going to have a repeater on 4 ticks going into a block with 2 pieces of redstone dust right there. Stop those 2 from canoodling. And this is basically going to allow it so that anytime any items go through any of your elevators, it's going to activate this redstone line, which is then going to activate this 8 comparator pulse extender right here. Now, this is basically what's going to be controlling your entire system and making sure that everything functions. Stop those 2 from canoodling. And yeah, basically once you have all of this in place here, you want to just run that off into a repeater on 1 tick. And then this is going to go into the main clock that controls all of the pulsing of your entire system. So go ahead and place a block right in front of that repeater, a redstone torch on that block, piece of redstone dust, repeater on 4 ticks, another repeater on 2 ticks, block right there, piece of redstone dust, and then 1 more repeater on 4 ticks, just like so. make sure it is 424, otherwise everything is going to be broken in chaos. If you have any of these even one tick wrong, it's all going to be broken. So just make sure that this specifically is very exact. But now we're going to go ahead and run a redstone line all the way down along this edge into a block, and just take a repeater into every single one of these torch towers, just like so. And that is actually the main circuitry for your entire sorter complete. But what you can do now is also hook up your indicator lights. So your indicator lights are of course right here in front of your center chest. You don't need 3, but I like 3. It makes it look nice and homey. We're basically going to have a redstone torch with another redstone torch underneath it. And we're basically just going to run a redstone line off of this pulse extender right here. So just get yourself a repeater right there, and then just run redstone on top of all of that, just like so. And that's pretty much all that you need to do. Anytime that this pulse extender is actually active, those indicator lights will be on. There's just a few more things to cover about your new auto sorter. So the first thing I want to talk about is lag. This is honestly not a very laggy system. These item elevators only ever activate once when there's an item in them, and the circuitry down here at the bottom pretty much immediately turns off as soon as items get past like this point in the hopper chains, which is really conveniently timed. Pretty top notch right there. Got super lucky on that one. However, we do have a lot of redstone torches always turning on and off. So it's a really good idea to go ahead and spam a whole bunch of torches or some light emitting blocks all over this build to kind of, outshine the lighting updates from that, and just honestly spam light sources everywhere around here. So what if you want a manually sorted chest? Like if you want a chest for potions or other non-stackable items, you would want this to be a manual sorted one. Basically what you do is you just move the hopper behind it to the side. So right now it's pointing directly into that chest, of course. Just point it to the side, going into any of these blocks, or maybe to the back or something. Don't make it point downwards, because that would actually break the filters above and below. You just want to make sure that that thing is pointing to the side. And now items will never be filtered in here, so you can have empty slots and you can do whatever you want with this chest. The final step of this multi-sorter build is the most time-consuming and most tiring as well, and that is figuring out how to lay out all your items and how to distribute them in all of the chests. So basically what you need to do is you need to fill every single slot of every single chest or double chest or shulker box that you have in your entire system with items. If you leave a single slot without an item in it, the next item that goes through your multi-sorter will actually just fill up that slot. It's not going to be organized. It's not going to be looking pretty. So I would say assign more room to bulk items than you think you might need, because bulk items you always just get a ton of. You don't really need that much room for like diamonds or anything like that. You can kind of combine things like that. I've built many multi-sorters in survival, and yeah, basically just assign like maybe 2 or 3 chests to like the different log types and stone things and all the different variants. And there's really so many different things that you can do with multi-sorters. It's really quite cool. So have fun, like, just messing around with it and customizing it. So I'm kind of in the mood for multi-sorters, so you guys will likely see 1 or 2, maybe possibly 3 more multi-sorter tutorials on the channel in the coming weeks, because there's like none of these stupid things for the Bedrock Edition, so I kind of want to fill that void, give you guys something, give you a whole bunch of different options so you can customize your storage rooms to be however you want. I think that would be kind of cool. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Do let me know any thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns that you have about this build in the comment section down below. You guys know I always read all the comments and reply to a ton as well. If you're new here, consider subscribing. If you liked this video, then leave a like, and I'll see you all down in that comment section and in the next video. And then there was silence.